but let me show you what we're talking about here. So this is the BioLimitless Cognitive Plan of Action for brain and cognitive health. I want you to please share this. This is literally something that could save your life and save the lives of your loved ones. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of my colleagues talking about solutions for these problems. So I want to jump right into the issues at hand. This is a massive wake up call. There's 180 million Americans that are dealing with certain types of neurological decline. 54.2% of Americans, 54.2% of Americans are dealing with some level of neurocognitive decline. This is crazy. 180 million Americans. These numbers are staggering. Okay. And this was just reported in the JAMA neurology medical publication, the publication for neurology. And so we've got to get into this conversation. We got to talk about action steps. So I want you to stay with me until the end here, because we're going to be talking a lot about action steps and things that you can be doing to help yourself. So these are some of the conditions. So 54% of Americans, 180 million Americans, these are all signs that you guys are dealing with some level of neurocognitive decline. And some of them start out as simple as tension type headaches. Most people think, just take a Tylenol or an Advil or an ibuprofen and my headaches are completely fine. Well, that is 100% not the case. In fact, that's not the case at all. The reality of this is that if you're dealing with migraines, if you're dealing with headaches, if you're dealing with any of those symptoms, over 121 million Americans are dealing with tension type headaches. That's a sign of low blood flow. That's a sign of neurological decline. Migraines are another sign. 57 million Americans are dealing with severe headaches and migraines on a regular basis that last more than 2 hours. Again, this is a sign of demyelinization to the brain. Just taking painkillers or even over the counters are not going to solve this problem. Diabetic neuropathies, 17 million Americans are affected individually with nerve damage and cognitive decline because of neuropathy. Folks, these three things, tension headaches, migraine headaches, diabetic neuropathy, they are metabolic dysfunctions that manifest into neurological problems. The same thing is true with strokes. Some 3.9 million Americans have strokes annually, and their blood vessels rupture or they get blocked, and now the brain can't function like it's supposed to. Again, this is another serious problem that we're dealing with, and some 180 million Americans are suffering from these problems every day. And then Alzheimer's disease, which we know is a metabolic origin. We know that there's genetic predispositions, but we know that there's metabolic origins to these diseases as well. Here's what's wild. We know that typically the southern states bear more burden than the northern states. So states like New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, even though they've got their own issues, they're less inclined to have these neurological issues. Now, we know that there's a lot of reasons for that, because of culture, because of foods, because of education, because of resources, etc., and providers. There are typically a lot better healthcare practitioners and providers in the North and Northeast and Northwest than there are in the Midwest and in the South. It just is what it is. But here's what's troubling. The troubling aspect of this is we're seeing a massive increase in death and a massive increase in dysfunction in all humans that are suffering with these. In fact, we typically notice that 10 years of disability with these individuals, any of these burdens, tension headaches, migraine headaches, neuropathies, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, typically it's 10 plus years of issues that the body's dealing with, different issues that are disturbing. And the reality of it is that there are things that can be done to fix it. And we've already started doing some of it. Listen, whether you understand the ramifications of this or not, changing the blueprints of the food pyramid is going to be the cornerstone of this, because carbohydrate overconsumption is, in my opinion, in the opinion of most common sense physicians and scientists, the driving factor, not the only, but the big driving factor to neurocognitive decline. And so we know that there are things that can be done to stop the disruption and improve health. We know that there's a $1.7 trillion cost economic burden, $1.7 trillion cost. The Lancet published this. Researchers looked from 2020 to 2019, and it was $1.7 trillion in the United States alone for neurological disorders that can be treated with normal, natural, conventional means. Listen, stroke is 33 billion annual. Alzheimer's is 205 billion annual. Combined, that's 30% of our brain spending is on those two issues, and they are metabolic in nature. Our healthcare costs have peaked, and they peak mid to late life. Folks that are in their late 40s are starting to experience this, and folks in their 50s to 70s, these are the individuals that these diseases are affecting the most. And I'm going to share with you daily action steps at the end of this of what you can start doing to protect yourself. We know that it leads to high economic spending. 78% of most countries' expenses are healthcare because of lack of knowledge and lack of knowing what to do. Here's where the healthcare dollars go towards for brain health. 42% goes to inpatient hospitals, 35% goes to ambulatory care. These are outpatient visits, therapy visits, post-stroke rehab, and then 23% of them are long-term care and pharmaceuticals. This is where the brain spend goes in healthcare. You don't have to participate in this. What I'm going to share with you at the end is a very simple, common sense protocol. And if you guys want this, if you guys want me to send you this packet, we will. Just type guide below or DM us, and my team will send you our neurocognitive user's manual. Here's the real drivers of cost. Okay. It's not just rising disease. This is what we need to understand. So we need to understand something. We're talking a lot, and you're hearing a lot about this in the news recently about mitochondria. We have a mitochondrial disease epidemic happening right now. The mitochondrial disease because of increased stress, poor diet, consumption of too many carbohydrates, consumption of too much linolenic acids, which come from seed oils, and those are directly dangerous and they damage the mitochondria. Then we've got to get the root cause addressed. And you need to understand, we say this all the time, you're not broken, you're blocked. And when interference is removed, the brain has a remarkable ability to heal itself. Our philosophy of test, not guess, is the reason why we've had hundreds of patients. Actually, now if we look at headaches and migraines, tens of thousands of patients with neurological cognitive decline reverse those disorders from a natural standpoint without drugs and without surgery. And I want to share with you how we do that here in just a moment. But our approach is different. It's all about making sure, number one, that the inflammation is down in the body. We've got to test, not test. This is why our DNA Discovery Wellness Test it's a must. I mean, listen, you need to get your genetics tested. And it's not just getting it tested, it's knowing what to do with the information after the fact that is very important. And so our DNA Discovery Wellness Test, which by the way, we've removed all friction. We've got a promo going, which will probably only be going on for a couple more days, which is the Bio 30. That'll give you 30% off of the genetic test, which is currently $900, which is quite an investment. But it used to be $2,500. And the test comes with an application that you can engage with and interact with that will help you understand what action steps you can take to, number one, reduce inflammation, to improve mitochondria, to improve methylation. And this is the problem a lot of people have, is with the methylation pathways. The detoxification pathways are blocked, the neurotransmitters are disconnected, and insulin sensitivity is a major problem. If we can get these 6 categories under control, we can stop and we can reverse neurocognitive decline. We're doing it in our practices today. Doctors are doing it across the globe as well. Until recently, we weren't even allowed to talk about the fact that we're actually helping people reverse their neurocognitive declines. It was one of those sacred cows that we weren't allowed to talk about. And what you need to understand is the standard approach is not working. The one size fits all of taking all these medications to help you find or remove the symptoms is horrible. So for optimal outcomes, we've got to test, not guess, and we've got to change how the body functions. So nutrition, let's talk about nutrition that heals the brain. This is so important. If you don't understand this, I don't care what vitamins, what minerals, what peptides, what bioregulators, or what drugs you take, we have got to get the brain into a state of ketosis. A ketogenic diet and ketosis is literally what the body was designed to do on how it was supposed to heal. A ketogenic / carnivore food plan has really emerged as the most powerful therapeutic tool for neurological health, because it lowers the blood sugars. It gets oxalates, which are toxic byproducts of undigested carbs, out of the system. It helps fuel the brain and fuel the body. It was originally developed because of seizures. A ketogenic diet can stop and reverse seizures. It can help the brain get out of a state of chronic inflammation and shift from a sugar burn to a fat burn. And that is the key to healing the body. So we've got to get in a state of ketosis. And so here's what you need to be doing every day. Listen to me, everyone, you need to understand this. 52% of the United States adult population has some level of cognitive decline, okay? Some level of those 5 cognitive disorders I talked about. That's 180 million Americans. And in this journal, the JAMA Neurology Medical Journal in 2021, this is something that we had better be getting ahead of now, or this is truly epidemic and pandemic proportions. So here's what you need to do for your nutrients for your brain. We talked about a ketogenic and a carnivore diet. Number 1, we've got to make sure we're getting adequate protein. Ladies, you need to be getting around 120 grams a day of protein in your diet, okay? Gentlemen, you need about 160 grams of protein a day in your diet. That is number 1. You start protein heavy, you live with that. That's going to be even more powerful than intermittent fasting. But I want you to lean protein heavy. You've got to have your essential minerals. Folks, our body does not make minerals. We have to eat them every day. If we don't eat them every day, our body cannot heal. Minerals are the key. When I was going through my naturopathic training, I learned that low minerals are the reason why chronic disease and all disease sits and persists in the body. Our Detox Pro Plus was formulated for such a time as this. It gives you 84 of the 92 essential nutrients and all of the minerals that your body needs in trace mineral form in that daily dose. You then mix that with root vegetables, good clean meat, and you start using organic sea salt throughout your day, you've got your minerals where you need to be. Then we've got to individualize and make sure we got enough fiber in our system. Fruits are out right now, okay? If you're going to have fruits, berries only. I want you eating high meat, high protein, and then get some vegetables in your diet for fiber. If you don't use vegetables, then get some type of psyllium husk or some type of a pectin fiber, some type of fiber daily. We've got to keep the blood sugars controlled, and we've got to get our detox pathways open. This is a huge component. The brain is supposed to drain at night when we sleep. Most people have problems with part of their brain called the glymphatic system. And if the glymphatic system is screwed up, the brain can't drain and it cannot heal. Some other key fundamentals, some other foundational supplements. Listen, this is what I put every single patient of ours that has neurocognitive decline, whether it's dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, whether it's migraines, tension headaches, whether it's neuropathies, whether it's any of those conditions that 180 million Americans deal with, that 52% of our adult population has, we put them on the cell signal formula straight out of the gate, okay? Straight out of the gate. That opens up the pathways, allows for the detox to open, shifts the body from a sugar to a fat burn, helps get into ketosis. It is essential, okay? Then we put you on the Detox Pro Plus. It gets you all the minerals that you need, and it pulls out microplastics, heavy metals, and other environmental stresses that are causing and contributing to your problems, okay? Then we put everyone on the master microbiotics. If your gut bacteria is not functioning, then your brain and body cannot function. This is true biology of how it works. But then we also add vitamin D3 and K2. Most adults are on 10,000 IUs a day of vitamin D3 and between 100 and 200 IUs a day of K2. K2. Then we put them on zinc and copper. You have to have zinc and copper for your brain to function. And it needs to be about 15 to 30 milligrams of zinc and we want to have about 5 to 10 milligrams a day of copper minimum. We have a zinc copper combo that we use. And then magnesium is essential. You've got to have a magnesium in your system, and typically between 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams of magnesium a day. So here's what we recommend. Take a picture and write this down. In addition to the Cell Signal, in addition to the Detox Pro Plus, in addition to the Master Microbiotics, vitamin D3 K2 is a must. Magnesium glycinate is a must. Beef liver extract, this is a must. Every man, woman, and child should be on organic beef liver extract. This is so important. This is so important. You can get your iodine from the Detox Pro Plus. You can get your iodine from the beef liver extract. You can get some of the iodine from the cod liver oil as well. All right. So that cod liver oil is an essential as well. That helps you get the vitamin A, vitamin D, and omega-3s that your body needs. And then we talked about the zinc copper balance. Get this going. This plus a ketogenic carnivore diet is key. It's the non-negotiables to keeping your brain healthy. That's the key. If you want to stay, you have to work for it. Okay. You have to work for it. So what we have to do is we have to get the ATP to increase. We have to get the immune system to balance. We have to get the neurotransmitters to fire. And the only way to get the neurotransmitters to fire properly is to use the Detox Pro Plus and the Cell Signal. And then we have to eliminate the toxins. Now, sleep is critical. It's a non-negotiable. It is essential, folks. If you're not getting a good 7 to 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night, you're not sleeping proper. We have guides on sleep, but it is a non-negotiable. Sleep is when your body heals itself. So if you really, truly want to fix your brain, you have got to be sleeping. As long as you find a good organic form of beef liver extract or organic cod liver, that's what you should be using, okay? Chronic sleep deprivation, even just a little bit, even a couple hours deprivation per week can literally add, like restrictions, even as mild as like 6 hours of sleep can lead to neurological decline, headaches, migraines. It can lead to Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, all of the things, and even can cause increases in symptoms of neuropathy. Okay. Very important that we're sleeping proper. Okay. Now, optimal quality sleep. You got to sleep. You got to have a consistent schedule. Even if it's the weekends, you should be in bed by 10:30. I know, in bed by 10, lights out 10:30. That 10:30 to 2 a.m. is the most critical time for sleep for you, for repairing your body. You should be breathing through your nose. If you're a mouth breather, mouth tape, okay? Start doing some exercises to help your body breathe through the nose. You've got to make sure you're sleeping in a cool environment, usually 65 degrees or below Fahrenheit. Make sure that the lights are dim, okay? At least 2 to 3 hours before bed, turn down lights. An hour before bed, off devices or wear blue blockers like I do, okay? Make sure that you're supplementing properly. I like a big dose of magnesium glycinate before I go to bed. It helps turn that GABA on and turn the brain down. And then stress management, doing vagus nerve exercises and our cortisol detox program will help with this. All right. There's no mystery to any of these things, you guys. And then here's another non-negotiable: movement. You have to move. Folks, movement is the key. If you're not moving, you're losing your body. Movement is the number one nutrient for the brain. It stimulates something called BDNF. BDNF is the miracle grow factor for the brain. If BDNF goes down, our brain function goes down. If our brain function goes down, then cognitive decline increases. If you guys want this guide that I've got here, just DM us or message the word guide below and we'll send it to you, okay? But one of the things that you can do, if you just can get into a pattern of going for a 10-minute walk after each meal, that can lower your blood sugar by 20 to 30 points. That can help your metabolism increase. That can also help your body's physiological processes work better. And this will keep insulin resistance at bay. And then if you can get into the habit of at least 2 days a week doing some resistance training for 35 to 45 minutes, that is a good place to start for everyone. All right. The good news is you don't have to be intense, but just movement is huge. Post-meal walks, doing some resistance training, just moving your body every day. If you don't move it, you lose it, folks. I need you guys to fully understand this. All right. Now, a couple more things I want to share with you. In addition to exercise and movement, this is pretty wild. It talks about post-meal walks. Look how much the sugars drop post-meal. If you go a 10-minute walk, if you can get people into a habit of, just like when we were kids in junior high in grade school, we'd go outside, we'd have our lunch, and then we'd go to recess afterwards. It's amazing how much your sugars will decrease over time. Additionally to that, number 6, advanced support. Now, we use for brain health, we use a therapy called Neuro Reboot. This is our Neuro Reboot formula. This is a peptide formula. Peptides are used for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. It's typically folks that have those neurocognitive issues, tension headaches, migraines, Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's, all those things. When they come into my world to see me, I put them on the Neuro Reboot, and we put them on the reboot for a minimum of 6 months. Okay. The Neuro Reboot helps rewire and refire the brain. It helps get the blood supply back to the brain. It's not a vitamin. These are peptides. These are specific peptides and peptide-like structures that you can use for a season, 6 months to a year, to get that brain to really rewire and fire. Now, I use this. I've been using it now for 2.5 years. And this formula helps not just get the blood supply back to the brain, but it also gets the synapses to refire and rewire. If you guys know people that are dealing with neurocognitive decline and they're not using Neuro Reboot, you guys, this has been fantastic for my patients and for myself. We've had hundreds of patients that we've been able to reverse their neurocognitive symptoms by using this protocol, especially with the Neuro Reboot. But if you are just going to take the Neuro Reboot and not going to change your lifestyle, things aren't going to work as well as they should. But if you change your lifestyle and then you add the Neuro Reboot, things are going to multiply exceedingly and abundantly, because that's what it was designed to do. You see, these advanced peptides, okay, these advanced peptides. Hey, Miss Karen, I know you love that reboot. Karen, it's great to see you, by the way. Karen loves the reboot. Most people totally love that formula. These peptides are neuroprotective. They make new blood cells and oxygenate the brain, and they improve cognitive enhancement. They reverse the decline you're dealing with, okay? And this is what you need to understand. Now, true healing requires you to focus on something called the triad of health. Here's something I want everybody to understand. What I need you to understand is you need to balance your body physically to get healthy, balance your body chemically to get healthy, balance your body neurologically to get healthy. You don't get healthy to do those things. Like, you don't lose weight to get healthy. You get healthy to lose weight. So the whole thing is we want to get your body healthier physically, chemically, and neurologically. And we've laid out what to do from a food standpoint already on this quick little talk, what to do from a supplement standpoint. We talked about movement as well. You need to be doing some things from a neuro-emotional cognitive standpoint. So let's talk about the pillars of structural health, spinal health, and nervous system function. If you do not have a chiropractor or an osteopath or someone who is doing joint manipulations and spinal manipulations for you, you do not have a complete health and wellness team, period. Okay. The structure needs to be working. You need to work with structural experts that can help you balance the muscles, balance the joints, and keep movement going. You've got to have quality movement over quantity movement. You guys should be practicing squatting every day, sit squats. You should be practicing wall sits. There's all these things, one leg stands. Like, I do these things all the time. And, sometimes people say, that's kind of goofy to do. Well, you know what? It's not, because I want to keep my body functioning for a long, long time. And physical fitness, okay, we need to exercise, we talked about, but doing it pain-free really is the goal. Chemical, biochemical, we talked about carnivore ketogenic food plan, really more of a ketogenic plan. Usually we'll go carnivore for 14 to 21 days, and then we'll start mixing in keto, and then we can start adding some more fiber and vegetables a little bit after that. But we need to focus on eliminating inflammatory foods, especially the high processed junk foods that people are eating. We now know without a shadow of a doubt that groups and organizations that are eating more seed oils, processed junk food, processed sugars, red dyes, yellow dyes, they're sicker as a population. I mean, regardless of what you feel like you've been told that those are healthy, they're not. That's a lie. And then we've got to be practicing stress management and emotional processing. Now, Listen, we teach all kinds of exercises like vagus nerve stimulation exercises, and you can go on YouTube and look up vagus nerve exercises. You can go on BioLimitless and look up some of the work that I've done on the vagus nerve. It's all about getting those nerves to fire and wire, and we test those in our practices. We actually measure vagus nerve functionality and teach people what to do. Now, in order to be well, it's real simple. You have to think well, sleep well, eat well, hydrate well, supplement well, breathe well, and move well. We actually put a boot camp together called the BioQuest Boot Camp. It's a 30-day BioQuest boot camp on biolimitless.com for free for you to use. You literally get a video every day and materials sent to you via email every day that teaches you how to think well, sleep well, eat well, hydrate well, supplement well, breathe well, and move well. And in our 45 easy reset, we have all that in there. So we have the tools for you. You just have to go to biolimitless.com and access those. You're not broken, you're blocked. And this is really what I want everybody to understand. This is the fundamental that we discuss in BioLimitless. Your body has pathways that get blocked, and they get blocked because of physical, chemical, and emotional stresses over time. And when we don't do the things to unblock those and to reconnect the body goes down a state of disease and ultimately gets into a state of disease. And it's completely reversible, but you have to know what to do. And conventional medicine has no clue. Okay. So guys, if you want this guide, please type guide below and my team or DM us and we'll get this guide out to you. But this information comes from a 2021 JAMA. It's a Journal of American Medical Association, the journal Neurology, that showed that 180 million Americans are dealing with neurocognitive decline every day. 52% of adult Americans have these problems, and we can totally reverse them by putting into play what I'm showing you to do here. Okay. You got to get these seed oils out of your system. Excess linoleic acid is omega-6s. Omega-6s and linoleic acid converts into arachidonic acid, which is inflammatory. And so that's why you should minimize and avoid these. In moderation, they're fine. And there are healthy types of soybeans if they're fermented. There are healthy types of sunflower oils if they're cold pressed and processed. But most of these seed oils, you should stay away from them like it's the plague. Okay. It destroys the brain. You need to replace those with omega-3 fatty acids. Okay. That's what we need to have. That's why that cod liver oil and fish oils are so powerful. You got to eliminate seed oils. You got to reduce the frequency of eating out, because unfortunately, most of the foods that are processed are made with those. We've got to choose pasteurized animal products, and we got to track our intake. Okay. We got to be diligent and be aware of what's going into our body. You know, we're snared by the words of our mouth, but we're also snared by what our mouth eats. Okay. And you got to repair the brain gut. The brain gut. Most of you have destroyed your gut bacteria. It took me 18 months to get my bacteria back in order after I destroyed it for 15 years of not knowing any better or longer. Okay. So these are the things that you can do to help yourself. If you guys want this guide,